You are listening to LOA Recon with the Good Vibe coach Jeanette Ma, where we dissect the ins and outs and the art and science of conscious creation, all intended to amp up your manifesting game. Let's have some fun together. So we hear all the time in law of attraction world that what we resist persists, and that's why it's important for us to learn how to accept and allow and release. We hear that advice all the time. And we know it, right? Makes good sense. Practicing it, however, can be a different story. I had a pretty big challenge in this one a while ago. In fact, I blogged about this. I called it my ultimate manifesting miracle. And it was really my story of being able to accept the unacceptable. So I'll start at the beginning and tell you how much I love my blind cat, Elvis. Oh my gosh, I love this cat. In fact, I love this cat so much. Someone the other day asked me what my alignment strategy was, what I'd been practicing lately. I'm like, I could tell them the answer with one picture of this cat that I love so much. I love him so much. And that might sound a little crazy cat lady-ish, but I don't care. I love that guy. I love all my cats. I got another one laying right next to me right now. I love you too, kitty. I really do love everyone. But man, do I have a thing for Elvis. Oh, I love that cat so much. Okay, so one day, and I've only had him for, how long have I had him now? Wow. Is he like 4 or 5? He might be. I don't know. But I bet he was about 3 when this happened. When one day I noticed he wasn't feeling well, like he wasn't moving around too much. And I kept an eye on him for another day, and he's still lethargic, not eating, not drinking. So after, I don't know, like 2 days of that, I was like, I better get this looked at. So I took him to the vet and they ran some tests and they didn't like what they saw. And they said, well, let's start him on some stuff and see if he responds. And guess what? He didn't at all. In fact, he was kind of going downhill kind of fast. And so I took him back in again. We did some more stuff, an ultrasound, this, that, and the other. And they still weren't able to nail anything down. Everything they tried, he wasn't responding to. And they finally said, look, we're probably not going to be able to wait a lot longer before we just open him up. We do a surgery, an exploratory surgery. I was like, oh my God, now this is getting out of control. Okay, and this whole time, I'm trying not to be afraid that I might lose him. I'm trying not to think that he might die, because I did not want that. Like on the top of my list of things I do not want, that was right up there, probably in the number 1 spot. So I had huge resistance to what was happening. And I knew that my job is focus on feeling him as healthy and healed and well and happy and thriving. But it was so hard to do while looking at him when he was clearly not. I mean, he finally got to the point where I realized this guy's going to die. I mean, he couldn't even do a surgery at this point because I've fostered a lot of animals and some of them have died on my watch. And this guy looked like that's what's happening. Like you could just tell when the energy's fading, when you could feel like they're not really here anymore. And Elvis got to that point where like he wasn't even lifting his head. I won't elaborate on how bad it was, but I was like, oh my God, I think he's going to die right now. And I thought, huge resistance. Like, no, this is not acceptable. This is absolutely not acceptable. But I thought of what Abraham teaches, that it only gets better, right? And that if that were true, that whenever we experience huge contrast, that means that huge desire comes from it and that life gets even better. Okay, and I wouldn't want to imagine any bigger contrast than what was going down with me losing this favorite freaking cat of mine that I hadn't even had that long. Like, you kind of think you're going to get more time with someone. So I was not down with it, but I knew the teachings that wherever there's huge contrast, that means something fabulous, something even better is coming next. And I thought, really, universe? You think you can do better than Elvis? And the next thought I had was, I would like to see that. Better than Elvis? Come on. I mean, like, I truly believe, I've experienced so many times that I know it's so, that as long as I don't get stuck in that contrast, life really truly does get better. You just gotta release that, you gotta release that crappy part in order to get to the goods. And I'm pretty good at that. So I thought, wow, all right, if universe thinks they can do better than Elvis, I'd like to see it. And in that moment, I made peace with him passing. I really did. I could feel myself getting okay with it, getting okay with the unokayable. But I did. I could feel all my resistance. I felt it leave. I remember right where I was standing in the backyard. I was standing under a tree looking at the fence, and I remember when I had that thought, and I just made peace with him saying goodbye. I was like, phew. It was relief from all of the angst I'd been carrying. And I'm not saying that I burst into tears of joy, but I felt peace. Peace, and also, like, can't wait to see how you think you're going to do better than Elvis, universe. That's a pretty tall order. And within an hour, he opened his eyes and he lifted his head and he shifted position, like for him to be even moving. He hadn't done that in a very long time. And pretty soon after that, he got up to drink some water. Within 24 hours, this guy he was fully on the mend. I knew he was going to be okay. We didn't go back into the vet for anything. He healed. Oh my gosh. And I understand the magic that's flowing here. Part of it was I gave up the resistance. And the way I got there, I mean, I knew I was supposed to be giving up the resistance before, but I was unsuccessful in my early attempts until I realized this is happening, whether I'm down with it or not. Like this, I really thought this guy might actually already be gone. And in that moment, knowing life's just going to get better and being able to not just accept that, but have peace with it, game changer. And I'm not saying that this is how it would go down every time, but I'm saying this is how it went down on this occasion. So for me to get peaceful with saying goodbye to that guy that I love so freaking much. Anyone who follows me on Facebook, you might know I don't actually have a cell phone, so I don't post a lot of pictures of him. And be glad that I don't have a cell phone, because my entire page would just be picture after picture after picture of how freaking adorable this cat is. I love him so freaking much. It's ridiculous. But that's my story of accepting the unacceptable. I bet you've got a good one too. If you do, I would love to hear it. Email me at jma@goodvibecoach.com, because I think by sharing this stuff with each other, it helps us get better at it. Thanks for listening. And if you're enjoying this podcast, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss new episodes. Thanks again for listening, and happy manifesting, everyone.